April is coming up fast, and there are some big games coming out this month. GameRanks always sorts through and gives you the ones you're probably going to hear the most about. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanks, the top 10 new games of April 2024. Starting off with number 10, it's Europa. This is an absolutely beautiful action-adventure game where you play as an android on the terraformed moon of Europa, attempting to investigate the last living human. Now, it calls this a peaceful adventure, but that doesn't mean there isn't any obstacles or adversity. Far from it. It looks like a lot of what it wants you to figure out over the course is the interesting traversal mechanics, which include a jetpack. It's a cool looking game. There is a demo out on Steam now. I'd recommend having a look at it. It's something that feels new without feeling particularly unfamiliar. I think it has a lot of potential, and I'm excited to play it when it lands on PC April 16th. At number 9 is Children of the Sun, a third-person tactical puzzle shooter that, although it shares very little in common with Persona, for some reason really reminds me of it. That being said, it's nothing like it. You're basically waging a one-woman war against a cult, and you take down cult member by cult member slowly, methodically, until you find the leader and take them out. It's interesting because you take control of the bullets once it is shot. This is another game for which there's a demo, and everything I've said here probably doesn't do it justice. It's a different game, in a very good way, might I add. I'll say this, between Europa and this, we have already gone through two pretty unique titles with demos that you can play now. If you're excited for what's coming next month, check them both out. Children of the Sun, like there's not anything else quite like this game. Now, if that can sustain itself over the course of an entire game, that has yet to be seen, but I definitely like what I see so far. And I just gotta say how much I'm liking the amount of demos we're seeing lately. It's a nice and confident way to release games. Show us how they play. And number 8 is Sandland, an action RPG that takes place in yet another one of the late great Akira Toriyama's worlds. This one really goes above and beyond in creating a unique way of seeing that man's phenomenal work. A definite standout in terms of adaptions. And I can say that the demo, which is again available right now, is every bit as cool looking as anything you're looking at here. It's a very gamey action RPG too. It's one of those games where you're like, yes, I love it. This is why I love video games. At least from what I've played. You play as a fiend prince named Beelzebub, and you embark on an adventure searching for the legendary spring. There's obviously a lot more than that. If you're aware of the manga, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, you are in for a lot of twists and turns. The last two games were PC only. This one goes way out further than that. It is coming to PC, but also the PlayStations, the Xboxes as well, and it's coming April 26th. And number 7 is No Rest for the Wicked. Alas, this is where our free demos stop, at least for now. This is the new precision action RPG coming to us from Moon Studios, the developers of Ori and the Blind Forest and Will of the Wisps. They claim it's going to reinvent the genre. I don't really care if they do or don't. What I care about is if the quality of the Ori games carries over to a new genre. In terms of art, style, aesthetic, it's all really intensely cool. But as you know, that is of course only part of it. That said, all of the gameplay they have shown us looks, I'm going to say, pretty good. In terms of action RPGs, it's probably closer to a Diablo than it is a Dark Souls. And if they are going to reinvent the DNA that it inherits from Diablo, that's a pretty tall order. Again, I would just be satisfied with a quality action RPG from these developers, and I have a feeling it's going to at very least be that. No Rest for the Wicked is coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series on April 18th. And number 6, Sea of Thieves is coming to the PlayStation 5. Now, obviously, when Microsoft bought up all of the studios it has over the last God knows how long, a lot of people did not expect to see these games coming to other consoles. And it took its sweet time with Sea of Thieves, but we're actually going to see it on the PlayStation 5. This is no doubt due to the fact that PlayStation 5 has pretty irrevocably won in terms of this console generation. I think Microsoft is understanding that the future will be in not so much what platform you're on, but fully in content, and that is leading them to putting their releases on other platforms. Sea of Thieves started out as kind of a dud of a game and turned into something pretty damn cool over the years. It's the pirate simulator, and it's not really a simulator, it's kind of more of just a social story creation / adventure game thing, and it's landing on PS5. I'm excited to play it with PS5 people. It's actually been quite a while since I've played Sea of Thieves, so yeah, it's a good reason to pick it back up, and I will be doing just that when it lands on PS5, April 30th. And number 5 is Another Crab's Treasure, which is perhaps one of the silliest Souls-likes that isn't just a joke that I've seen. It's a beautiful, vibrant, colorful undersea world filled with treasures and perils, and you're a crab navigating all of it, and it's a Souls-like. It's really cute, it's animated very well, and all of the trash that you can find is also essentially how you're going to protect yourself. It's a different approach to the Souls-like genre that I think may be really big, actually. I don't know that I'm expecting it to be as tough as a traditional Dark Souls. It kind of is marketing itself fairly different from a Souls-like. The fact that it's calling itself a Souls-like is even kind of odd with the marketing they've used with it, but for me, that's kind of like part of the allure. Another Crab's Treasure is landing on PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch April 25th. And number 4 is Tales of Kinzera Zao, putting us right back on track to talk about games that have demos out that you can play right now. This is a Metroidvania about a guy named Zao who is grieving the loss of his father. It's got supernatural stuff, but the whole point is dealing with grief. It's gotten a lot of good press. People seem to think that the story is pretty good. I played the demo. I like the gameplay, personally. Also, the demo, obviously, it's going to be a while before the story plays out. It's a pretty game, has a different aesthetic, and in all truth, like, the fact that there's another Metroidvania out that doesn't literally look the same as some other Metroidvania is kind of shocking at this point. This is a genre that's become massively popular in recent years, and we have seen every shape and size of it. I love that there's still stuff to be wrung out of this genre. Like, I can't wait to play this one. Tales of Kinzera Zao is landing on PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC April 23rd. And number 3 is Astra Knights of Veda, a kind of 2D action-adventure exploration type game. Definitely different in terms of exactly what it's going for. It's calling itself a 2D RPG, but to me, it looks more like an action RPG with a lot of exploration in it. It is very pretty and has you going up against an evil king who has basically ransacked the world and screwed everything up. You want to free the world, and good for you. It claims to be a story-rich game, so there's probably a lot of character development that goes alongside that stuff. I like what this looks like a lot. I'd probably be interested in it based on looking at the gameplay alone. It looks smooth and fun without being too esoteric, but also not too simple. It looks interesting. Astra Knights of Veda is coming to PC April 2nd. And number 2 is Stellar Blade. It looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. Stellar Blade ain't playing around. This is a game that to me looks like there's probably going to be a lot of different types of action RPG all combined into one. It's been something that people have been following for a while. Back when it was first announced, I kind of thought, yeah, that looks interesting. And then over time, what they've continually shown of it has looked cooler and cooler. Obviously, a lot of people have been talking about this game because Sexy Lady, but I have a feeling that it has a lot more to offer than that. I mean, sometimes I find myself comparing it to Bayonetta or Devil May Cry. Or sometimes I find myself comparing it to Nier Automata, sometimes to Dark Souls. Like, there's stuff in this game that looks like it's going to be a little all over the place in a good way, and I am really excited for it. There is a demo coming to the PS5 on the 29th, so if you're interested and want to see how it plays, that's a good place to start. It is a PS5 exclusive, and it will be releasing on April 26th. And finally, at number 1 is Manor Lords. According to ManorLords.com, this game aims to provide a gridless, organic city-building experience with full freedom of placement and rotation. That said, they also say there's snapping tools, and yeah, well, there's a lot more to Manor Lords. It's a strategy game. Big old tactical battles, crazy stuff going on, great graphics, lots of people on screen at once, day-night cycle, season cycle. Honestly, it looks like a pretty great open-ended strategy city builder. Set in medieval times, of course. Now, the thing they're selling it on is the city building and its accuracy, but there is some pretty cool medieval warfare involved here. Like I said, there's a ton of people on screen at a time, and I have a feeling that that is going to be a bigger part of the game than they're advertising it to be, because it looks very cool. At least I hope it is. I don't know, basically if it does everything that it's advertising itself to do correctly, I think it's going to be a pretty stellar game. Manor Lords is landing on PC April 26th. I do have some bonus games for you. First off is Biomorph, which is billing itself as a Souls-like Metroidvania. This is one with a demo. It's got a very cartoony look to it, but don't let that fool you. It's a tough one, or at least I had a little bit of a tough time with it. It's cool. I liked the design. I liked the smoothness of it. The game comes out on PC on April 5th. Next is Freedom Planet 2. Hey, if you liked action platformer that starts from Sonic and adds guns and Rocket Knight Adventures type stuff while retaining the Sonic speed and similar physics, there's more of that right here, and well, that's great, because I liked the first one quite a bit, and I suspect I'll like the second one quite a bit. And finally is Top Spin 2K25, which is the 2K tennis game. This is intended to follow up on the Top Spin franchise itself, which I'm not sure if it was called 2K before. I'll be honest with you, I usually play Mario Tennis if I'm going for tennis on consoles, but this one looks worth a spin. Top Spin, it's coming to PC, the PlayStations, the Xboxes on April 26th.